I didn't know I was going to excel in the advocacy world, or my voice was going to have so much power. I'm just happy that God is using me as a vessel to reach so many people. Who believes after 17 years that anyone's going to help you? And I never asked for help. I'm Rachelle Ellison, a speaker and advocate for the National Coalition for the Homeless, the Assistant Director of People for Fairness Coalition, and a co-facilitator at CNHED, and also sit on the full council of the Interagency Council on Homelessness and the Advocacy. I'm on the HMIS and CAP team, which means I'm a peer mentor, which means I go out into the homeless population. I ask people, do they want me to put their information into a homeless management information system here in DC? And then I immediately take them on and put them on a sheet and get their information to the CAP table, which is the Coordinated Assessment Housing Placement. And I sit at the table also. I also have a voice at the table, which means there's someone from lived experience, and there's not a whole bunch of strangers making decisions about these people out here that are in a house, because this is the population I come from. This is like my family too. And I have to make sure that one person at a time or two people at a time, how many I can help, that I can help them get the housing they need. And through People for Fairness Coalition, we were able to be onboarded to what they call a consumer engagement work group on the Interagency Council on Homelessness. And recently, I was just appointed by the mayor to sit on the full council of the Interagency Council on Homelessness and Advocacy. Anybody want coffee? Coffee? Hey, good morning. Good morning. Here you go. Thank you, sissy. Read my lips. Coffee? Sugar's right here. Here you go. There you go.
I don't know what it was, but
Hey, you need a stir. Stir? Coffee? So this is the amazing team I have, along with our director who's behind us, Robert Warren. We come out here and do this every Saturday from 9 to 10 to come meet the unhoused population where they're at, because I was explaining, we all are either formerly homeless or homeless ourselves, and we come together to make sure that we serve the population, to build a rapport so that we can come out here and at some point do HMIS, get them to the CAP table so that we can try our best to get them housed and off the streets as quickly as possible.
I think the most important thing about outreach is that we connect with our unhoused neighbors, because they're the most important people that we serve right now. And so, as we continue to move forward, we'll continue to make these supplies available. Even if just a few people out here, we want to make sure we connect. That's our objective.
Yeah.
So I'm Robert Warren here with People for Fairness Coalition, and the goal is just to to come out and engage the community and just try to bring them some coffee, some donuts, and try to give them information to inform them of services that they might be lacking. And we have PFFC's Women Initiative, some really amazing women that have been coming out for now. It's going on
2 years.
Been doing outreach here. We started in this park. This park right here is like really historic here in Washington, D.C. This is McPherson Park. It was the park that held the Occupation Center, and it just recently was closed and remodeled because we had a homeless encampment that was in this park, and that's when we started coming out serving individuals. And we've been here now for 2 years.
2 years. Yes, and I just wanted you to meet the team that comes out and makes this happen with me, because it's not just about me, it's about the whole team. My story started when I was very young. My mother and father got divorced when I was 3, and they got remarried and had beautiful families. And I went to go live with my father, and shortly after, my father started sexually abusing me. So I am an incest survivor. When I was 17, I met this guy. I thought it was going to be the man of my life. I wanted to freebase cocaine with him, and little did I know my life was about to take a very fast downward spiral into darkness. I ended up giving birth. One twin was stillborn, the other child was born addicted to cocaine. He had failure to thrive. And I went to court. I won custody of my children back. So my child, Kiana and Todd, I was pregnant with Sharita, was coming towards me, and I didn't see Jamar. My child I had when I was 15. I asked what happened, where was my son? And they said my son fell in a swimming pool while in foster care. I ended up staying at the hospital with him for 6 months, and the doctors told me he was never going to be normal ever again. And my son ended up dying July the 1st of 1993 after being comatose for 6 years. When I got here, I thought that we were going to be a family. I didn't know how I was going to get through my grief. I didn't know where my other children were. And I had no idea that this man was a drug dealer. I thought he was just coming to work every day. I was so naive. And when I got here, he got arrested 4 months later, went to prison. I handed my daughter to his family, and I hit the streets of DC for the next 17 consecutive years. I was homeless with all this trauma, all these co-occurring disorders, just steady, just trying to stay as numb as I can, and incurring more disorders and more trauma while being homeless. And there was a soup kitchen right here next door to this library called Zachariah's Kitchen. Well, their director there kept saying, I see so much potential in you. And I'm looking around like, who? After 9 days, they put me in a mental health crisis house. And then I was able to go through Pathways to Housing and get this apartment. May the 6th of 2014, I cried out to God, and I went into PIW for 3 days. And this May the 6th, I'll acknowledge 10 years clean and sober. I had to forgive my father for molesting me so that I could grow. I had to forgive my mother. That took a lot of praying. And then I had to forgive myself, which was the hardest part of all. My son died in my addiction. My child, who I was supposed to be taking care of. I understand that God works through people, and I understand the devil does too. And he wanted to kill, steal, and destroy one in my life, so he wanted me to stay out there and commit suicide. But little did he know that my spirit was going to be overwhelmed with blessings, even in spite of what I was going through. So as I started getting better and people that are healthy I started having healthy relationships, healthy friendships. And people believed in me until I believed in myself. People loved me until I started to love myself. And today, that's exactly what I do. I go out in the same community where I slept and homeless for 17 years, around some of the same people that are still out there. And God gives me the strength and the courage and integrity to just keep persevering through my illnesses. I'm sitting in the same library. I used to sleep outside this library, right outside the windows. And I slept outside there for many, 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 many years. I have 10 grandchildren and 3 beautiful children that God just restored the relationship process. It was a process. So today, I'm a DBA certified peer specialist. I'm a nationally certified recovery coach. And I'm getting a dual bachelor's degree at Strayer University in criminal justice and psychology. Other people will call me and say, hey, the council member wants you to give him his award, and he asked for you by name. We need you at this event. The mayor's office reached out and said, we wanted to do a story on you for Gratitude Powers DC. It's an amazing journey. And it's really sad that I'm in this journey because I wish that everybody had housing, because housing is a human right. I wish that I didn't have to be an advocate. I wish that I didn't have to do outreach. I wish that these jobs weren't needed to be done. But it's really important that you have people with lived expertise and lived experience at the table. We are someone's mother, sister, daughter, father, brother, and son. And people need to realize they're only one paycheck away from being homeless themselves, or one decision away from being homeless themselves. So people need to be very wise about who they judge. And I felt so invisible out there. People used to walk by every day, and I make sure I stop. And I make sure, I ask them, what is your name? Is there anything I can do for you? How can I help? Then there wouldn't be as many unhoused population. There's over 580,000 people on any given night in the United States of America. And that's because somebody doesn't care. That's because somebody's walking by. It's because someone's not saying, how can I help? What can I do? It took my dignity being unhoused. It took my self-respect, my self-esteem. It actually took my identity, because I had to believe I was someone else. It gave me empathy and compassion for other people. It taught me patience and tolerance. And it taught me how to love people just for people. I'm mixed, I'm biracial. But there's no color to me. I don't see color. I don't see anything that separates us from being human beings.
My city isn't always so pretty. It's downright unfair. Who really cares? I know a 77-year-old woman and man sleeping downtown in a tent, unable to pay the rent. The cost of them living with some dignity is too high a burden on Joe and Josephine, taxpayer. There's always a layer of paperwork and a waiting list, with the risk of dying from preventable circumstances. Who really knows if it's racially equitable process? And who decides when they're lost in the whirlwind, or too old to remember when they had a home? I can't be all alone in this fight to get it right. Housing is a human right. So we say, what will it take to honor our mothers and fathers' days with a safe place? There should be a universal right to housing. That's the solution for me. I hear a chorus of voices singing to the choir who say they believe in housing for all, for every man, woman, and child. That would be a family. Poor people always being demonized in a capitalistic system, not being able to supply their housing needs. Thank the Lord for the raindrops and the trees. That's a good thing. I see the bricks and mortar and the building of new communities, housing for everyone in need. Is it only a premonition? Or should I call it a